Good evening, baseball fans. It is Monday, February 19th. It is a Monday, right? Yes, it is Monday. My ADHD medicine has fully worn off and I no longer know the date or time. So anyhow, this is Suzy with Bourbon and Baseball. That is Kelsey. If you are on YouTube, you will see that we have a very special guest for you today. This is Bryan from the LastDiveBar, and we'll kind of get into all of that in just a minute. But before we do that, I got to give you guys the warning. If you're new around here, I apologize. This is a rated R podcast, not for the paid adult content, because that's not over here, unfortunately. I really got to stop saying OnlyFans because it does give me ads, and that's just not a thing that we want. But anyhow, not for that content, guys. Not for that content. Just solely for the four-letter words that I like to say, that Kelsey likes to say sometimes, but I can't censor myself. So it is a rated R podcast for that. Maybe possibly some inappropriate adult humor, but we'll see where that goes. So with that said, we're going to roll right into our very special guest, Bryan from the LastDiveBar. How are you today, Bryan?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you, Suzy. Thank you, Kelsey, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are excited to have you, and we're just going to roll right into the all of the questions that we have, because we have lots. We have so
Let's do
many.
this. Let's do
Yeah, so
this.
I read an article about this, I want to say in like 2022. So I have read about this story of kind of how the last dive bar got started, but Suzy
Mhm.
doesn't even know. So I can't wait for you to tell the story and give me some more insight into it. But the last dive bar originally started as a website. The website was called WTF Bryan, which I assume is you, Bryan.
Yeah.
The original website, WTF Bryan, this is that Bryan. So the last bar stemmed from a meme of you at a game in 2019. Tell us about that and
Yeah.
how it turned into the last bar.
Oh man, I laughed just thinking about it. But yeah, so we started off as WTF Bryan, which is obviously an acronym for What the Fuck Bryan, .com. And so my partner Paul Bailey, we were just buddies at the time, and we would just make memes and gifs and banners and stuff that we'd take to the game, and we would celebrate like players and just be funny. Anything that happened that was funny or crazy or outlandish with the A's, like we would have a banner and it would be at the stadium like usually the next day. Like that's how fast we would turn them out, and we would create memes about anything and everything that was going on, like with the A's and the players and anybody in the radio, TV. It didn't matter who it was. We were just always like making memes. And one like persona I had with my personal Twitter account, Sandlot 408, is I had this internet bromance with my favorite player, Ramon Laureano. And so he didn't even have social at the time. And so there was just constant memes and everything about me and Ramon. We were lovers, and anything that happened to him, they would, people would tag me. And so that stuff started getting like pretty popular amongst like the local fan base and stuff like that. And everybody would just ream me anytime he did something bad or good or anything, right? And especially when he would get injured, people would, you know, ask if I was taking care of him and when's he coming back and all this. And so, he had a pretty, big debut when he first came on with the A's. He had a walk-off double to win the game in extra innings. And so over the offseason, I made a banner of him, and the A's actually brought me onto the field so he could meet me and then sign it. So we actually met in real life back in 2019. And so, yeah, and then I had a whole big old Ramon call when he would come out. I would scream Ramon. So you'll even see the Guardians like tweet that out. Like I started. It's in my bio
Yeah.
and everything.
Oh, that's so
And
cool.
so and then he would dap his chest, throw the ball up at me, um and so we became friends. I came good close with his family, his parents, his wife now. And so he got injured, and that
Mm-hmm.
year in 2019, we were leading all of baseball in hit by pitches. I think to date, it still leads all of Major League Baseball in hit by pitches by a
Wow.
team. And so in that game, Mark Canha had gotten hit to like tie the record or something like that. And then Ramon's first at bat, he got drilled in the back, like a 94-mile-an-hour fastball right in the back. He throws the bat, And of course, anything that happens with him, the camera usually goes right to me. And so I'm standing up in my pin covered vest. As you can see, I love pins, right? Ace pins. So I got my pin covered vest and I'm standing there and I'm emphatically screaming, "What the fuck?" And I'm screaming like at the top of my lungs. And the broadcast is on me. And they did not, they on purpose didn't cut away. So then a tweet follows. And so everybody's like tweeting it out and everything like that. But then the A's actually tweeted, they said, "Our thoughts on leading the league in hit by pitches." And then it was me screaming, "What the fuck?" But when the fuck part came, that was like Homer Simpson, like, or something like that. And it went crazy. So about a week goes by and there's just a shit ton of memes. Like they put this like figure of me on like in a choir on that Brazilian statue in traffic doing snow angels. You know that Greek thing with the fig on his wiener, but he's got like all the arms like that. That's me.
Yes.
And then, and so my partner, he's like, "Hey, on Friday, I'm gonna drop something. I want you to, check it out." So he posts this website, and it was WTFBryan.com. And then on the website was a collection of every single meme and GIF that was created and made of me. And it was just like just making fun of me. And he had this whole ode to what the fuck, and it was like a page long, and it was like the most romantic thing ever written about a what the fuck moment, and it was crazy. And I mean, we were making baseball cards with this shit on there, and then some guy on Twitter was like, "Hey man, if you put that on a shirt," it was this one specific meme that's still on our website, and it's like a silhouette of me, and it's like green and gold, and just says WTF. And we even sell it in a pin too, and underwear. We sell underwear. And so yeah, they're called the what the fuck undies. They're rally undies. They bring magical powers to anybody that wears them. And so basically, my partner Paul, he's like, "Yeah, dude, I figured it out. We can sell a shirt." So we actually put it on there, and that dude bought it, and other people were buying it, and 4 people bought the underwear, and so we started making money. And I was like, "Dude, what do we do?" And he's like, "I don't know." I'm like, "Well, I'm not claiming it on my taxes," and he didn't want to, so we ended up donating like everything back to the Ace Community Fund at the time. And then next thing you know, we started making design after design after design, and we started doing. I would create campaigns, like charitable campaigns around like A's players and their initiatives and stuff like that. And so we'd create
Mhm.
designs that complemented what they were doing and stuff like that. And that's literally how it started. But then COVID hit and we got shut down because all print shops were shut down. And so my wife's best friend started up a print company, and so she took us on as a client. And around that time, there was this article by Jack Nicklaus of the New York Times, and in there was a line that he was comparing the Coliseum to a dive bar when all the other baseball stadiums were like cocktail lounges. And there was a line in there that said, "It's like a dive bar, baseball's last dive bar." And I saw that and I was like, "Oh!" And Jack was my buddy. And so I said, "Jack, we got to make a banner of this." He's like, "Yeah, do it." So we made this banner, put it up at the Coliseum. But then that graphic right there, this one right here, went crazy. It went viral. Players were buying it. It was
Mhm.
out of control. And so we literally rebranded as LastDiveBar, said goodbye to the what the fuck, and the rest is history.
I love that so much. So was that in 2021? Was that in
Yeah,
2020?
this was right at COVID, and then we rebranded in 2020. So we were
Okay.
only what the fuck Brian for like 8 months to maybe a year before we switched over, because like so many people were like, "Hey, we want to work with you guys, but it's kind of hard to like promote you guys when your website is WTF Brian. Like, you guys, are you considering changing that?" And we're like,
Right.
"No, why would we change it?" And so, but so we when we rebranded as Last Sidebar, and then it was like, it was a no brainer. And then we ended up getting everything copyright. Like, so we own the entire image. It's copyright protected, and it's federally trademarked. We're the only company that's ever been attempted to be shut down by MLB, and then MLB turned around and said, "We're not going to shut you down. We're actually going to approve your trademark." So
Okay.
that's a fun story.
That's
And
some cool.
so, and the very lawyers that were like actually sent to shut us down, They ended up a bunch of the stuff, they wanted some of the designs, so we sent them like Rally Possum shirts and calendars, and yeah, it's hanging up in the MLB offices in New York. So
Oh my goodness. If listeners, if you guys have not checked out the Last Dive Bar, you definitely have to. The graphic design people that they have, which you said was one of the co-owners or two of the co-owners.
yeah, so it's we're three owners, and then so two of the owners, Paul and Carl, do all the graphic design work. Paul does all the photography.
Mhm.
I help out a little with the photography. And then I do all the social media and stuff like that. But if you go to our IG, that one's like a good catalog of everything in chronological order, all the way down at the very bottom.
Yeah,
So there's a bunch of designs we had to take off.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
You're like,
because yeah, with
we
the whole
just have
trade.
so many, then
No, not that. We actually, because of the trademark stuff, we had to remove some of the stuff that
Okay.
we were commissioned. So the A's paid for a bunch of stuff for us to do back in the
Oh,
day, and then that stuff had to actually go off because the MLB's like, no, we don't like that. And so yeah, that's a whole story too.
gotcha. Wow. That's
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
dive into more of that, I gotta ask, have you always been a lifelong A's fan? I assume because of the amount of pins behind you, but I just want to make sure. Oh,
Oh, cool.
that's awesome.
That's amazing.
For
Yeah,
our
no,
audio only listeners, Bryan just held up his forearm and has athletics tattooed on his forearm. So that just answered my question. I guess you've
yeah.
always been a lifelong A's fan.
Yeah, I've been an A's fan since I was 4. I grew up in the 80s, so I grew up in the era of the Bash Brothers and Ricky Henderson and the Billy Ball days. And so
Mhm.
like I grew up in just the glory days of A's baseball. And like when I was 4, team I played on was the A's and T-ball. So I played with them for 2 years. And then in all of my senior minor major days, I played on the A's again. And so it was like, I mean, yeah, if you lived in the Bay Area in the 80s, man, you like it was complete opposite of how it is now where everybody's a Giants fan. Like everybody was an A's
Right.
fan back then. Like you weren't cool if you were a Giants fan. You were a dork, You had to be an A's fan because that's where like everybody was bashing and stealing bases and
Right.
commercials, and I mean they were rock stars back in the day. The A's were like a modern day like NFL team, but in baseball in the 80s. Like it was such a great time to be alive.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna veer off on the questions. Like I said, I'm so sorry about this, but I need to also
All
get
good.
your thoughts on this. Uh,
Yeah.
what were your thoughts on Commissioner Manfred's thoughts on saying, well, there's another team in the Bay that it's not like you. There's not one. I'm sorry, sir. Did you just tell lifelong athletics fans to go be Giants fans? What are we doing here? What's happening? What did you think about
the
that?
dude's a, the dude. I mean, the dude's an idiot. I mean, would a Red Sox fan be a Yankee fan? Would a Cubs fan be a White Sox fan?
Right.
Would an Astros fan be a Rangers fan? Like, I mean,
Absolutely
would an
not.
Angels fan be a Dodger fan? Exactly. So the very fact that he suggested that shows how disconnected and detached he is from the very fans, the consumers that he's supposed to be selling this game to, right? Like, this is
Mhm.
baseball. You're supposed to believe in it. And da 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 da. Well, he just shit on all that, just like he told
Yep.
everybody that the trophy was a piece of metal. I mean, the guy is a complete buffoon when it comes to marketing his own game, and for him to even suggest that, the guy should be slapped silly. You know what I mean? He
Yeah.
should. He should be backhanded. He should be, he should just be removed from office. Like the guy's an idiot. Like, get him out of your sport. He's making the sport look so fucking bad. Like,
Yeah.
God. It's
Well,
disgusting. And now don't get me wrong. I got tons of Giants fans that are friends.
uh-huh.
Like I love my Giant fan friends and stuff,
Yeah.
and got a lot of like love for the history of the Candlestick Park and
Mhm.
Oracle, and so I mean it's like it's such a great historic organization and stuff like that. Now there's a lot of history about the ownership and what they did to the A's, with relocation back in the day and stuff. But I can separate that from Giants fans
Yeah.
and the organization and stuff like that. And so it's just, and they supported us a lot with the reverse boycott and everything. And so but just for him to suggest that's just stupid. You know what I mean? Nobody's gonna do that. Nobody's gonna switch allegiances. I'm not gonna like turn my tattoo into, Lucille or McCovey Cove or something like that. Like, come on now, you're an idiot, Manfred.
Well, I think you
Yeah.
said it perfectly, and that it shows how disconnected he is. That's the
Yeah.
perfect way to say it, and it is really unfortunate. But one of the things that I find so interesting about your kind of mission is that obviously you're celebrating the A's, but you're specifically celebrating the Coliseum and the experience that is created by this, quote, last dive bar, baseball's last dive bar. So on your site, it actually says the Coliseum might be baseball's last dive bar, but it's our favorite place to watch baseball. For those of us who haven't experienced it, I think the A's are getting, for better or for worse, a better amount of attention these days. And baseball fans as a whole are a little bit more invested in finding out about what it is that you love about that experience. So tell us what endears you to the experience of baseball at the Oakland Coliseum.
Man, well, it's for one, it's a generational thing as far as like A's branding, right? And they're always like the first to kind of do something and push the barriers of what you can and can't do in sports. Like they allowed facial hair. They were paying $300 back in the 70s to every player that would grow a beard. They were the first to wear white cleats. They were actually the first baseball team to ever play under the lights way back in the day. They tested that out. They wanted to. Charlie Finley made a jackass, a mule. Their mascot. They had a rabbit that used to come out. His name was Harvey. That used to come out and give baseballs to the umpire. Like they've always done crazy ass things, and that whole approach in kind of like marketing and stuff like that has bled over into the fan base to where you can just totally be creative with how you cheer on and how you root for baseball in your favorite in your stadium. And so like to where like they allow us to bring flags and wave flags, during the game and drums and stuff like that. It actually
I was gonna
started
say, wasn't there like a drum
in
section or a drum guy?
yeah. Oh yeah, right field 149. The Oakland 68s. They're the drummers out there, and so but it actually started. It didn't start with them. It actually started with these kids from Skyline High School back in 2000, and there was a huge thing between the New York Yankees Steinbrenner and these kids. And it was huge back in the day. Like Steinbrenner wanted this shit shut down, and what did the A's do? They said no, let them bring the drums, and that's how it started. And back in the day, they even had commercials of these kids playing drums with Miguel Tejada and stuff like that. And they used to have a song, like a drum beat for every player that came on. And so, but it even started way back in the day with a guy by the name of Crazy George in the 70s. He had like a little tambourine type drum, and he's the one that actually invented the wave that so many people either love or hate. Like he invented that, Crazy George. And so that's kind of where it started. And the A's would let him just go up on the dugout and bang his drum and start going nuts and stuff. And then like you look at the 80s and stuff like that. If you see some of our recent stuff, and there's even gifs that I made and put in Twitter where we're bashing the bash arms and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So my buddy Rob, NorCal Notters, he made those one night because I posted the gif and the original video of these guys that were fans when I was a kid, and they used to walk around the stadium and they had these big old pantyhose filled bash arms, and they were always bashing and stuff like that. And my buddy Rob's like, I'm gonna make that. And that was on a Wednesday, and he actually got them made by Friday, and they're way better than the old ones. And so, but they would let you bring in that. They let us. There's a GIF that I put on Twitter of a guy playing a tuba in the stands. Like they let people bring a tuba in. Josh Reddick, had the walk-up song "Careless Whisper," and you see everybody in the fans swaying like this, and people got clarinets, like real ones. Like there's just always this like atmosphere that's so unique to Oakland and specifically the Coliseum that's not replicated anywhere else in the baseball world. You might see stuff like if you go to Japan or Taipei or even in the Latin American countries, like they cheer on baseball kind of similar to what we do at the Coliseum. And so that's something it's so appealing and stuff. And like theme nights, like you ever been to a birthday party and they got a whole theme and everything? Like we were doing that like in this every Friday night we had a theme night, and everybody dressed up. We decorated. We had 20-foot banners. We had decorations everywhere. We had people that worked for the A's that would dress up, and they'd be in their regular roles and jobs, like in the Coliseum, dressed up and stuff like that. And I mean, it was wild, dude. It's nuts, and it's the most fun atmosphere when things are obviously going good, that you'll ever see. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Right. Well, I mean, definitely, the A's are what I like to call the Astros daddy, because for some odd reason, the A's just always smoke us no matter what. And I'm like, don't. Well, I don't know why y'all are sleeping on the A's. It always ends up that the A's just smoke us for
Uh,
I don't know. I don't know. So just
well,
just know that I understand that the A's are the Astros daddy. Like I know. I'm aware of that
yo,
fact.
you
Okay.
don't even know if COVID didn't happen. Astros, we had so much stuff planned because the first game back after COVID for the Astros, after the whole scandal, was in
Uh-huh.
Oakland. We had probably 20 banners. We had inflatables. We had so much stuff you can't even think of. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a bunch of articles at the time about Orbit in a trash can. I bought a
Oh, uh-huh.
cardboard cutout of him, and I put him in right field. So he was up there, and literally 20 minutes into the first BP of the first game, MLB made him take it down. and then the A's wouldn't give it back to me. And so I was making all these memes of like, where's Orbit? And like he was I had him on an island with Castaway with like Tom Hanks. I had him there.
Uh-huh.
I had him on a milk carton. I had him underneath a freeway. And finally I got him back. And he was in like perfect condition.
Oh, so he's just been chilling somewhere with well,
Mhm.
maybe not with the raccoon, but somewhere else then, or the
Yeah, he's in
possum, I
my
mean.
yeah, he's in my house. Yeah, I got him. But yeah, it was funny. But no, I mean, when we called you the Lastros, like when you were in that transition from the National League to the American League, like you guys were just dog shit. But like you guys were in the shadows, like building up something crazy. And
I
yeah,
don't
it's
I
just
don't know what you're talking about. That's before baseball,
yeah, that's
Susie, so
before your
that doesn't
time.
actually count.
But
That's
that's why
I don't know.
I was always confused with the scandal because I'm like, that team never needed to cheat, and they didn't need to bang on anything but baseballs and stuff. And speaking of daddy,
Yeah.
Verlander is the A's daddy. That guy's knocked us out of every playoff I can think of for the last like 15 years, man. That guy, something's wrong with that dude. He's
Yes.
so
Yeah.
mean to
I
us.
mean, he we do appreciate our daddy Verlander. He is getting up there in age though, so we
Yeah.
gotta
See,
we gotta treat
we're
him with
kind
some
of
kid gloves.
we're related, Susie. We're like cousins.
This is true. This is true. Yeah.
Well,
I,
everything you're
I
talking about, Bryan, is just like so our kind of fun. Like I really feel like I am missing out by not being an A's fan. And it is really cool and really special that
Hey.
they have allowed that to just be a part of what is the culture there.
Mhm.
But you mentioned like obviously this all started with t-shirts, but it
Mhm.
is now a full-blown organization. You have community events, you have theme nights, like you said, that are
Yeah.
highlighted, and you work alongside the Oakland A's organization and Major League Baseball. Like you were telling us even more about that before we started recording. But
Yeah.
do you have like, I mean, you've shared some really great memories and stuff so far. Is there something that you're like particularly proud of? Like this was a great idea, or like the follow through on it was just everything you could have wanted it to be?
Man, God, there's so many things, and like not one thing is really more important than the other. Sometimes it
Yeah.
is, but like we got recognized from Santa Clara County for community events that we were doing out here. Um, we helped organize the first trunk and treat in Santa Clara County when COVID happened, and we've been doing it every year since. So we got recognized for that. But there's so many things we've done. We did the entire Stephen Vogt retirement ceremony. So if you see any clips and highlights from
Oh,
Stephen Vogt's
cool.
retirement game, all those shirts and the logos and everything he had during his private party in the back, like we designed that. His family reached out to us, told the A's they wanted us to do the design and nobody else. So that was super cool. I had a
Oh, I love
conversation with him
that.
before the game. Yeah, and so actually when he hit that home run in his last at bat, I was with his wife, and because she wanted me to come over and just thank me and all that. And so his whole family's there, everybody's there from his childhood till current, and they're all wearing the vote shirt and everything. And so we're talking, and they're about to announce him. So I told his wife, I said, hey, he's coming up for his last at bat. I'm gonna take off. Thank you so much. Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna take off so you can enjoy your husband's last at bat. So I step back, and boom, he hits it. I got my phone. I just take a picture of her arms going up, then her hugging his father and stuff. And I was just like, wow, that's insane, right? And so that was really cool. But actually, one of the really big things that the nights that sticks out for me is one of our theme nights. We called it Rock Night. And so what it was our theme was rock and roll. And so when you go to a concert, what do you see? You see a bunch of the t-shirts, right, of all the bands and
Mhm.
artists. And so a lot of people like collecting the shirts. So we dropped 8 different designs, 8 shirts. We designed 8 shirts from each, like Metallica, and we redid the text that said LastDiveBar. We had Kiss, it said LDB in the Kiss letters, Guns N' Roses, Pink Floyd. So we redid all the famous album covers as Last
Uh-huh.
Dive Bar albums, t-shirts, and we released that leading up to the game. Everybody dressed up. We had I had a 7-foot inflatable guitar. Everybody had inflatable guitars. Everybody was dressed up like Freddie Mercury, and I was Axl Rose, and I couldn't find any pants, and I'm 6'3". So I went to what's that? It's a Korean pop, like Korean pop store, and they had these pants that were girl pants, and they were tight, and they were Last Ivar colors. They were gold and black.
Uh-huh.
So I bought them, and I was wearing Korean pop girl pants that were skin tight, but it was awesome. So I was Axl Rose, and then so we had a huge night, and then they were playing rock because the theme night for the A's that night was like rock through the decades. So they were playing
Oh,
rock
uh-huh.
music the whole night. So of course I'm like, okay, the theme night for that night should be rock. So we're in parallel with what they're doing, so it helps promote it. And that year we were working with the A's on their bingo nights. So okay, we had this launch leading up to the event. So that's Last Dive Bar back end stuff. We have to drop all these shirts and everything. So we dropped 8 different shirts, and then we had all the promotional stuff about the night. But then we had to do the bingo night first. So everybody showed up at bingo up at the tree house, and we were all partying, having a good time, playing bingo. Everybody's looking just ridiculous in their rock stuff. And then I would set my alarm for like 5 o'clock or 5:30 because I then had to run down and I had to decorate our whole section, right? So, but yeah, and then so now the night gets crazier. So these are all the aspects of that one night. There was a family, so I was taking a shit one day, and I was taking a shit one day, and all of a sudden we get an order, and it's like for like $300, $400, and I was like, oh great. I was like, somebody messed up their order and put like 30 shirts in there. I'm gonna have to go in there and fix it and all of that. So I emailed a lady, and they were at the time we did this design, "We Love You, Ray" for Ray Fosse, and all the proceeds went to the very cancer that he died from. It all went to
Mhm.
cancer research and support, and so they bought that shirt. So I sent an email. I'm like, hey, we see that you love Ray, and guess what? We love Ray too. I just want to make sure everything's cool with your order. I noticed you ordered like 30 shirts, like everything all good. Like, do you need me to change it to one? And I get an email back, and she was like, you have no idea. We're so my and she said, and this is her talking, my dad's name is Ray, and he passed away during the Ray Fosse tribute. So when they were honoring Ray Fosse during this tribute in game, and they were
Uh-huh.
filming it, obviously, and he passed away during that, and his name is Ray. So they were just like, "Oh my God, our father Ray dies," and he's a huge diehard A's fan. Their whole family's diehard A's fans, and so the following Tuesday night, I'm at the game, and I just have our Ray Fosse banner up there like we always have, the "We Love You, Ray" banner, and she sees it, and she's like, "Oh my God, what is that?" And so she Googles that, finds our website, makes the purchase with the intent for their entire family to wear that T-shirt at his celebration of life.
Oh,
Okay,
I
so
love
then I
that.
was like,
Uh-huh.
wait a second. Yeah, so I said, wait a second. Hey, hey, you know what? I know you're planning this. And then I said, hey, what I'm gonna do is I'm taking care of your whole family. Whatever they need, just let us know. We're gonna send you a shirt. Send you a shirt. So Next thing you know, like 60, 70 freaking shirts. I'm like, oh, damn, it's a big family. So we're sending them, every shirt gets a sticker. And so we were sending them that. And so I said, hey, we got a theme night coming up. Why don't you guys take the family out, get your mind off everything, come to the game. We'll pay for your tickets. And you just come sit by us. We're all going to be partying. It's going to be awesome. And she's like, okay, great. I said, all right, well, let me know how many tickets you need and then I'll get them for you. She comes back with like 37 tickets. I was like, oh, damn. And so I was like, wow, okay. And so what I did was I hit up uh, the A's PR at the time, Catherine Aker, and I hit her up and told her the story. And I said, is there anything you can do? So they're like, yeah, we'll take care of the tickets. So I said, cool.
Wow.
So literally the A's took care of all the tickets and parking for this entire family to come out. So they come to the game Friday. They're all wearing "We Love You, Ray," t-shirts. I drive all the way in San Jose to our like last minute banner place. Got a "We Love You, Ray" banner made, the same one that they
Uh-huh.
saw, but it was like brand new. Went up and it had a bunch of people from the A's sign the back of it and everything like that. And presented the family during the bingo night, presented the family with a big, huge fake check. And it was $1,000 made out to the A's Community Fund in honor of Papa Ray. And it was crazy, dude. It was super emotional. Everybody was crying. Get choked up. The family was beautiful. They had he had two granddaughters that did a lemonade stand, and they raised like $170, and they gave me an envelope and a letter said to Bryan, and just talked about how they were inspired with what we do, and
Oh.
they did a yeah, they did a lemonade stand, and they wanted to donate that to us. I was like, well, we're not a 501c. You can't donate to us, but that's the vice president of the A's right there, Catherine Aker. Why don't you two girls take the money you're going to give us and go present it to them, and then she'll donate it back to the A's Community Fund. And so they did. So we got pictures of it. It's in our IG and everything like that. And then um, Ken Korak, Vince Cotroneo came down. They signed because they would always come down in the treehouse and they signed the banner. And so I told them about what was going on because they're like, what the hell's going on? There's like freaking 40 people wearing like "We Love You, Ray" shirts. And so I told him, he goes, no way. So then on the radio, Vince Cotroneo, Ray Fosse did this whole dedication to their family. On the live broadcast, because of course I talked to DallasBraden, he signed the banner too. DallasBraden made it a point to come down there in game in a live broadcast, interview the family, um, interview the granddaughters. And so it was crazy. It was a life-changing thing for their family, and it left a huge impact on us. And then the rest of the night we partied and did this, and like the whole theme night and everything like that, and it was like completely wild, fireworks at the end of the night. We didn't win the game that year. We didn't win a single Friday night game except one, so it kind of sucked.
Oh.
We had all these theme nights and we never won, but whatever. I'm not bitter.
Oh.
No, and so that was probably the most impactful thing, because we literally had a huge drop, like one of our biggest drops. We had a theme night that we were planning. Bingo night, we had to work and do this event, and like we make these big cellophane baskets filled with prizes, and the A's would auction or raffle them off, and then had the whole family there during the bingo, and then down there, and then had to do all the stuff with the production crew to make sure the story was highlighted correctly and everything like that. And so that was like super special. And then obviously the next day I have to like screen grab everything and then post it. So,
Right.
the family constantly, will forever have something to look back on.
Oh, I love that so
So yeah.
much. We love Dallas over here on this podcast. I think actually before Kelsey, I had another co-host, and her name was Shelby, and Dallas was actually our first like big time player color person, like anybody that wasn't just Shelby and I talking on the podcast, to come on the podcast. And he spent like an hour and a half with us just chopping it up and talking ball and stuff, and we're like, what's going on? Oh my gosh. And Dallas Dallas holds a special place in my heart because he's just insane and so lovable.
That guy is just a ridiculous human being. Like he's amazing. I love Dallas so much. Like that dude made us, I think they were like Jordan 3s, and he got them all customized. And on one shoe it says "LastDiveBar," and then on the other shoe it says "The Town." And so the right shoe is the right field bleachers, and the left shoe is left field bleachers. So we're left field bleachers. And so one shoe was "LastDiveBar, the other shoe was the Oakland 68's the right field. So it's pretty cool.
Gosh, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
So, well, I know that we're
Yeah,
gonna
Dallas
transition from the theme nights and whatnot that you guys have thrown to one of your bigger events now, Fans Fest. Not, because normally,
Yes.
normal teams have the actual team puts on, a fan fest for their fans to kind of thank the fans. Not the A's, not the A's. Oakland said, nah, that's not what we're gonna do. So kind of tell us about how you guys came up with this and like why you guys came up with it and where it's going or where it's gone from the original Fans Fest.
Yeah, so they stopped doing it in what 2019, 2020 and stuff like that. So they stopped doing Fans Fest, and so I think it was like last year or the year before that they basically here's my son.
Hi, buddy.
Hi.
He's getting curious. He ain't got
He's
no
like,
shirt
what is
on,
this?
but so they did. Yeah, they did. They stopped doing it, but the Oakland 68s did one in Brooklyn Basin. I want to say like in 2022 or 2021,
Uh-huh.
and so they did actually the first Fans Fest there, and then so with this one coming up, we were doing so much stuff with all the Summer of Cell movement and everything with them. So we just collectively were just like, dude, let's do this Fans Fest again, but let's have you guys involved and let's just make this thing big. And so we're like, all right, let's do it, dude. Foot on the gas, and that's it. And so that's how it came about.
I love that. So Fans Fest is the 24th. Is that date correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
FanFest is it's this Saturday. It's gonna be 11 to 4, Jack London Square. The event center is called Block 15. It's beautiful, beautiful event center. It's pretty huge inside, and we have indoor, outdoor stages. We have programming on both stages. We got tons of ex-A's, greats coming. We got the Oakland Ballers, the new independent baseball team coming. JT Snow of the Giants, who is now a coach with them. They're coming. You got the soccer teams, Oakland Roots, Oakland Soul. But yeah, we got Grant Balfour, Coco Crisp, Trevor May, 1998 Rookie of the Year, Ben Greaves, 74 World Series champion, Billy North. And then we got Mike Norris, who is one of the members of the Black Aces. With the A's, he was actually the only Oakland A pitcher to record a win in 3 different decades. He won a game in the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, wow.
So
that's so
yeah, and
awesome.
we got two bands. Yeah, we got 2 bands. We got American Cheese, and they're a cover band. And then we got Electric X. They're like rock and roll. And then we have a banda group coming, like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So we got that coming too.
Oh,
So
okay.
Little Caesars. Yeah, Little Caesars.
So cool.
Oh yeah, photo booth. We got a photo booth. We got a photo booth coming. A big old photo booth inside. We have a balloon artist. So we got a bunch of activities and stuff like that for the kids. There's several beer vendors that we will have there. So it's kind of like a little beer garden. We got Longman's Gin. They're going to be giving away free samples of gin. We got a kombucha booth that's going to be giving out free samples of kombucha. And then, we got Dave Cavill coming. I don't know if you saw that post. We got Dave Cavill coming, and we got the Rally Possum coming.
Okay. Now it's a party.
Right? I love all of this. I'm so excited to see how it turns out for you, because I know that it's going to be amazing. It already sounds amazing, but you forgot the most coveted guest that's going to be there. Bryan, our friend of the show.
Duh. Well, yeah.
Come on now, friend of the show, Scott Braun, host of Foul Territory, right? Coming. And I'm so excited that he as well is like getting the message out about this entire kind of situation, and I'm speaking to the masses, I guess, about what the fans really have kind of gone through, and still going through. Yeah. So now, are you? Obviously, you are spearheading all of this, but now I assume you have some sort of like committee or group or people helping you do this, or are you just going to run around like a chicken with its head cut off all day?
Okay, you were a little
Did you not hear
breaking
any
up
of
on
that?
one. No, I didn't get any of that. I was like,
That's
I was like, sounds like a robot. No, but
I love that. No.
so okay,
Well,
Scott.
I was going to ask about
Okay,
like
now I can hear.
help for the day, essentially, because I know that you're
Ah,
spearheading this. But do you have help that's helping you during the day, or are you just going to just run
yeah,
around like a chicken with its head cut off?
yeah. So for one, I was. So you guys, cut me off. I was just gonna catch my breath and say how amazing Scott Braun with Foul Territory is. Um, so he's amazing. Territory is gonna be there. He's actually got a bobblehead that was made by NorCal Nodders, Rob Roberts. And so he's gonna have his own bobblehead there. Stevo Custom Cards making him a one-of-one custom card art. So they're gonna be showered with gifts. We're making them banners that's going to be all displayed up in FanFest. And so Foul Territory is going to be there. They're going to have a lot of special programming going on with some of the players and stuff. So you're going to get some in-depth, kind of intimate interviews with some of the players that you wouldn't get even if you were at the event and stuff like that. And so they have a slew of guests that they're going to be having on the show. So it's going to be pretty awesome. They're sitting up on the balcony overseeing the whole indoor event. So it's pretty cool, right next to the green room where the players will be and stuff. And so it's amazing that he's there, and like his advocate, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Um,
Words are hard. It's okay. We got
how
you.
much he's been there. Yeah, how much he's been there for A's fans, and continuing to highlight this from a national media perspective is like something that is like so deeply, deeply appreciated by each and every A's fan. And so we constantly try to highlight everything they say and do across, all social platforms because often you get that type of support from national media. I just barely now you had Jeff Passan finally comment on it, and so that's super cool that they're there. But yeah, we got a lot of help with FanFest. So there's 4 main coordinators for the event. It's me, my partner Paul, and then Todd and Jorge of the Oakland 68. So us 4 are basically the backbone behind the scenes organizing, coordinating everything, and then we actually have like 30 to 40 volunteers that are just fans that'll be there, and we're going to be assigning them jobs and shifts, and they'll have specific things that they're going to help out and do. We have over 70 vendors that will be there.
Wow.
And we're not charging any of them to come. So we're all about supporting small businesses and stuff like that. So they're going to be out there with an opportunity to earn some money and stuff like that, and get their brands and their name, their food, their clothes, or whatever out there. We got big local clothing groups, Oaklandish, who's been so supportive with the Summer of Sell stuff. Beast Oakland, like they're a couple pretty big clothing brands that are out here. And so yeah, it's there's so much that's going into this, and that's available to the attending fans and stuff like that. But yeah, we have help. The Oakland 68s has like a 10 or 12 team board member, and so all the
Mhm.
board members are going to be there taking on a big role and stuff like that. And we got walkie talkies, and it's like super
So you're
legit.
very very official with the walkie-talkies for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But man, it's crazy how much work goes in this. I mean, there's permitting, there's all this stuff, licensing, and porta potties. Like, you know how expensive porta
Yeah.
potties are? Like,
I
they're
don't, but I bet
expensive.
you do.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so Todd with the 68s and Jorge, man, they've been like, Todd's ridiculous. That man is like Superman. Like what he's doing behind the scenes, without him, FanFest doesn't happen. Like this guy is like our brain behind the organization. He's got everything organized, emails and stuff. Like he sent out 70 separate emails today just to the vendors. So they had all the
Wow.
information the day of the event. But the porta potties are funny because each one, we're calling them the Johns. So each porta potty will have a picture of John Fisher's face, and it just says the John.
So
I
good.
love that. That's so good. So Bryan, what is your kind of current read on the Ace plans for relocation? I mean, today we heard that I guess the city and the A's are now back in talks. Um, is that just for this year? Is that well? I think what they said was MLB needed to know where you guys were going to play
In
in
2025.
2025 by like July or something like that. So is that I guess it's for this year and possibly next year? hopefully the year after. Like what's going on down there?
Yeah, so there's a lot of moving parts, right? So what you were alluding to with the July cutoff is like MLB needs to know where the A's are going to play because they have to set the schedules. And so there's like two conflicting reports, and it's kind of crazy. You have the Athletic coming out saying the Athletic came out and said that Sacramento is a front runner, but then literally the A's NBC Bay Area. Network, the people that pay the A's $70 million, like they came out and tweeted literally within a day's time of each other. Sacramento was a front runner. The very next day, Oakland is where they're gonna, Oakland's where they're gonna play. The fact of the matter is, if they leave the Bay Area following this year, they lose 70 million every single year. They're not in the Bay and on that contract with NBC, and so they can't like leave and not think they're going to make that money up somewhere. And then plus you have the whole thing where the players putting professional athletes in a AAA. Like, can you imagine the Yankees playing in Sacramento in a AAA park or Utah in a AAA park? It's just stupid. And so it's really bad for the players and stuff like that. But the bottom line is the A's are back at the table. Negotiations initially were positive, but that more meetings are going to take place. It's looking like the Coliseum would have to be the favorite if they don't want to lose that $70 million. And so, but the city has terms, and they have 4 terms, and so a lot of A's fans, what they want is they want the city to hold true and hold firm to those 4 terms. And as LastDiveBar and myself as a fan, I don't want them to extend the lease past 1 day if they don't meet those 4 terms, because the A's don't deserve, $70 million a year if they're not going to meet those terms, which is obviously increased rent because they're paying $1.2 million a year. And if they're getting $70 million for them to extend that lease, right, they need to fork up some of that money to the city. John Fisher owns half the Coliseum site, which is just ridiculous that the county sold that to him without any stipulations in there. So they got to give that back to the Oakland A's, or that back to the city, so they can then own 100% of the property. They want to sell it to this group called AAESG or whatnot. And so basically that, and then guarantee from MLB, right? Relocation, right? Bid to go there, and the A's team colors branding stays in Oakland. So even if they leave and they get 3 out of the four things, but they don't get relocation or something, they at least have the name. So if relocation ever does come up, you can have like a Cleveland Browns thing where they're like the new Oakland A's, but they're under different ownership and stuff like that. And so, but if they're not going to meet all 4, and MLB is like, why do them any favors? You know what I mean? They've shit on Oakland, they shit on the fans, they've shit on baseball so much, they don't deserve it. And so, but the good news is that MLB is talking with the A's, right? So relocation is on the table, and the city and the county are talking with the A's. So there's hope, there's hope, and there's something to hopefully look forward to.
That would be
We'll see.
awesome for the fans. I mean, like, really and truly, y'all are the ones that are, I guess, getting hurt in all of this. I mean, like the players still get paid. John Fisher obviously is making his money, and so it's literally just the fans trying to endure, 100 loss seasons over here. You're like, can we field a good team? Because again, before I got into really got into the weeds of like baseball, I remember that team with like Matt Chapman and Matt Olson and Marcus Simeon and Sean Murph, and you're like, I'm sorry, how did that team not win 1,000 games? That's, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just watching all of the players from those teams go on and have the careers that they have, it just makes me very sad. Makes me very sad. And again, like as I've been diving more into like A's history and baseball history just in general, like learning about really like the greatness that was the Oakland A's, I'm all, what do you mean? The Oakland A's were like super good. Did you know this? My husband just laughs at me, but it does, like, it makes me sad, even as, like, a newer, like, baseball fan learning kind of this in real time, so, um,
Yeah, and that's the
but
frustrating thing about being an A's fan,
yeah, for
Because like
sure, for sure.
every 3 4 years is like that. Every 3 4 years, we're like, dude, all we need is 1 2 more pieces, and it's World Series favorite. And instead, they trade everybody away. It's like stock goes high, and then they sell the stock, and then they tell you, oh, keep loving the A's. Like, no, after a while, that's why attendance is low, because they've done that for over 25 years.
Right,
It's
right,
been we've had horrible ownership since '95.
Yeah, well,
is
what's
that what
amazing about what you've created, though, is like it is bigger than baseball, and it has brought a true community and network of people together that is bigger than what is outside of your control. And you're keeping
Yeah,
the history of not only the A's organization, but the space, the Coliseum, and all of that
yeah.
alive. And one of the other things that I want to make sure that we highlight, because you have talked about obviously the charitable work that is a part of the Last Dive Bar, but I mean, at this point, y'all have donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to charitable
A
efforts, and you're
lot.
talking about the logistics of putting a fans fest on. The logistics of even just of follow through with charitable efforts like that is huge. Like, were you always was philanthropy always a passion of yours, or like how do you even start to figure that out?
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah, like my wife, she runs a community in her spare time. She runs this Facebook group called Got Kids. And so she puts on like tons of community events, brings families and parents together, provides resources to other mothers and fathers and families about stuff within the community and resources that are available to you. And so I would always help her out and stuff like that. And so when the whole meme happened, WTF Bryan happened, and then it grew into like LastDiveBar, and like we actually started making like good money and stuff like that. I mean, there was no question in my mind, like, to do something to give back, to create almost like marketing campaigns, but for the charitable, for the charitable aspect side of it, and to create campaigns based around players and around features within the Coliseum. I mean, we put a trough where you go pee on a shirt, and that's our second best selling design. So yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, and so I've always had that. Like I've always felt good when other people are happy. Like I watch like videos where it's like 25 cents a day could feed this family, and I'm like crying because I'm like, oh my God, and so I've always been really like empathetic and always donated back to charity and stuff like that, and been real active in the community. But from doing like charitable type stuff, like you know um being with people and seeing people light up and stuff like that. That's always been like a passion of mine and stuff. So doing what we do with like Last Ibar, just like it's like I can do that now and like tenfold. And so like this fan fest, like this is ridiculous. Like how much money is going into this on behalf of the 68s and Last Ibar. Like we're zeroing out our bank account. Like we're spending thousands upon thousands of dollars for this fans fest, on top of the hours that we're working, basically, not basically, but for free. Like we do all this for free. Like Last Dive, I can release my tax reports. Like we've never taken a single dollar from any of the money we've made, and we've donated hundreds of thousands of dollars back to the community, to the A's Community Fund, their affiliated charities, players charities, and then we don't announce it, but we've done a lot of donations for like GoFundMe's for specific fans and stuff like that. And so yeah, we just always have done that. You watch those sappy videos on MLB Network, where they're talking about a player and he struggles through the ups and downs, and you start crying because you just feel so attached to his story and stuff like that. Like it's stuff like that I get into, and I'm like, oh man, that's amazing, and it gets you like motivated, and it inspires you to where you want to take action and do something. Well, with Last Ibar, we just fucking do it. We do it, and there's this one chick on Twitter one day, and she was talking about she had to move away from California because she was abused by her husband, and she had to take her 2 kids and raise them all the way out in Oklahoma, right? And her daughter was a diehard Matt Chapman, and Matt Chapman, or I forgot who her favorite player was, but anyways, she had a Sweet 16 party and it was all A's stuff. And I seen that. And I was like, wow, what a story. Well, you know what? I hit up a bunch of A's fans and we got every single giveaway. We got tons of stuff and we sent it all to this girl way out in like Oklahoma. And she was just like blown away. And then there was a banner that she liked. We reprinted the banner and sent that to her so she could have it up in her room. Hope it falls down on her, you know, because it was some sexy baseball player. But you know, so yeah, you know, it's shit like that we've done. Like there's so many different, like there's just so many stories. Like I don't have time to highlight everything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like it's crazy. It's like it's nuts how much we've done as far as little campaigns like that. Like it's in the hundreds of thousands, like how much we've had little stories like that are just like those touching little sappy MLB stories. You know, because it's bigger than baseball, you know what I mean? It's like when you die, you're just dirt, right? And so hopefully you live a life that's meaningful enough to where it affects you and it affects other people, you know what I mean? Because I'm selfish. This shit makes me feel good. I like it. And so it's like that's why I do it, because I get something out of it. I get to see other people smile. I get to see
Right.
other people's lives like actually change and stuff like that. Um, and it's pretty crazy to know that you had like a small part in that, and affecting somebody's life in just a positive way. And so you know, and just you know, everything behind what Last Dive Bar is, we're just a mirror, we're just a reflection. And then when you look at Last Dive Bar, you see your memories, you see your time spent at the Coliseum, you see what mattered to you, you know, because it's not about like the people behind Last Dive Bar. Like we rarely ever inflict our personalities in the stuff. It's always the imagery, the designs,
Yeah.
the experiences, the memories that you create and make in baseball, and in particular, like the Coliseum. And so, yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I was kind of rambling.
Absolutely. Ugh.
It was a bar. We're just gonna keep letting you keep going. So you know, we want to thank you for your time, Bryan, because I know this is it's run long now, and I apologize about that. But
Mhm.
we'll wrap
Oh,
up
sorry,
with this.
I'll get yelled
This
at by my wife.
well, we don't want to get you in trouble, so we'll, like I said, we'll wrap up with this question. And what do you kind of hope is in store for the future of the Last Dive Bar? You know, with the Oakland A's and all of that stuff, and we'll wrap that up, and then you know, we'll do the send off, and we'll send you to dinner.
Yeah. Well, thank you. No, man, what would I want for Last Dive Bar? You know, it's a big question, because it's like, in order for us to want what we would want for Last Bar, we would need a different owner to do so, because the current ownership, the current marketing team and PR and stuff like that are just so detached from what the fans deserve and what they could offer to the fans. And they don't have that connection like the previous regimes did and stuff like that. So it's like, I want ownership to be gone. I want the team to be sold. I want a local ownership group to take over, for them to build at Howard Terminal, keep Coliseum open so the roots and the soul can play there, because it's better to develop two places for the community than one.
Mhm.
And so build Howard Terminal in a way scaled back more, you know, not that $13 billion ridiculous plan Fisher could never do, but actually just build a stadium there and do some development around it. And then get back on track, you know, with what Last Bar and then we're doing, which is highlight what makes baseball fun, and work with us as opposed to against us. Um, and for us, I mean, we're just going to continue doing what we're doing as long as we're still here. And even after they leave, we're going to just continue to highlight the history and highlight the experiences of our past. And, you know, because this isn't our main job. Like we all have full-time jobs,
Yeah.
families and stuff like
Right.
that. This is what we do on the side. Now we do it 24/7, like while we do it all the time, but it's it's not what we do for a living. You know what I mean? And the money doesn't go back to us. So it's like there's no drive to make more money. It's just about giving the experiences back, like to the people and to the fans. And so as long as we can keep doing that, then I mean, we're already doing what we want to do in the future, and hopefully it grows. Like I know Casey Pratt, who's another huge, like you guys should have Casey Pratt on your show. That guy is the expert when it comes to A's relocation and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Awesome.
But Casey Pratt has talked about like doing the multimedia thing, like dive bar. We had some funny name for it, but um, So I don't know, getting into like media such as this, like expanding, getting into TikTok. We have a TikTok thing, but we don't use it. We just didn't want nobody to take the name. So like getting into TikTok and making some, cute vids, like that would be cool, but like, but I don't know. We're doing everything we want to do and we're living out our dreams. Like we've been able to meet players and have relationship with players and media and the broadcasters and stuff like that and get to talk to like amazing women like you two. So I mean, we're doing what is like super fun for us, and
Right.
and I'm grateful for that and I feel lucky.
Well, I mean, you ended it on a compliment with about us, so you were just
Yes,
going to
you
end
are
on a high note
welcome.
here.
You are welcome back anytime, Brian. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Hey, yeah,
Brian's,
wait.
I was
Let me
like,
do
hey,
this.
I'm married.
Yay
I know.
baseball.
Yay baseball, indeed. Brian,
Yeah.
tell the people where they can find you on socials.
Yeah, so we're on OnlyFans at LastDiveBar 69. No, but okay, wait, before I tell you that, I don't know what's going on with Twitter, but every time I post something, I get hot tits in bio. Like, ladies,
Yeah,
calm down, okay?
yes,
Last Sidebar has
it's
wives
the
and
porn
kids.
bots. It's the porn bots. They,
Dude, it's crazy, dude. But you know
yeah.
what? I talk back to them.
They want to
I
get
talk back to them.
into
It's
that
funny.
dive
But
bar.
no, you can find us at Last Dive Bar. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Instagram, great way to find all the stuff from back in the day and the stories. And I try to keep stuff in the highlights so you can see the collections and some of the community stuff. We have a Facebook feed as well. And we have threads, even though we kind of barely started that, but we just post everything else from all the other sites. And then, and then you can go to lastdivebar.com and check out, we got the new Rally Possum design that just dropped, the Puppet President, which is an homage to Pinocchio, aka Dave Cavill. And we got a pretty cool, like, it's a Disney castle, like the Disney thing, but it's the Coliseum and it's got the Doris Get Your Kid flower. So that was pretty cool.
Love it.
So, yeah.
Well, I will definitely put all of those links in the show notes to the website, to all of the socials, so that our listeners and followers can link to that really quickly and help support y'all out there. Again, Brian, we really appreciate all your time that you spent with us today, and we'll have to have you back maybe after like FanSFest and after you've like slept a little while, and kind of just kind of recap the day and how it went for you. So
Definitely.
listeners, followers, friends, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And if you haven't already, please hit that red button, subscribe to us on the YouTubes. We are now at 202 followers on YouTube. We are moving on up in the world, moving on up. We are still hanging very, very tough on all of the Apple podcast charts for Great Britain and Spain and Japan and Korea. So again, I don't know where you're finding the show, but we are so thankful that you guys are. United States, I don't know where the fuck y'all are at, but you need to get on the Apple podcast charts. Come on now, people. Come on. I'm just okay. Leave us all of the 5-star ratings because that's what we appreciate over here. All of the nice words in the reviews. And with that, we will say good night and goodbye and yay, baseball.